Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. So we're talking a march on Goldman Sachs to impose a 1% Tobin tax to make the Wall Street hyenas pay, and indeed pay the cost of the depression which they've created. If there's a worry about how to finance health care reform, the Tobin tax is one obvious part of the mix. Again, I can't promise that it would be $20 trillion every year. But in the first year, it would probably be something in that neighborhood, perhaps more. The big thing is apply it to all derivatives, exchange-traded and over-the-counter, right? The structured notes, designer notes, whatever they have, and you will begin to turn the entire thing around. The other aspect of this is since Wall Street speculation is the only thing that is not taxed in a world in which everything else is overtaxed, this amounts to favored treatment. It's an encouragement. It's basically a subsidy for what you don't want. You're subsidizing speculation, which is destructive to society. Why not turn that around? You should tax what you don't want and subsidize what you do want. And what you do want would be health care. But, of course, health care depends on production. You'd have to build 1,000 hospitals and train 250,000 doctors if you want to have health care over the next decade. There are some anti-war protests here. The Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, they're going with October 2009, a month of anti-war protests as a result of the 8th anniversary of the lunatic invasion of Afghanistan by Mad Dog Bush in the wake of 9/11. And they're going with October 17th. As a day of mass rallies, marches, coordinated local and regional demonstrations. Now, this may be isolated, but at least it has the elementary sanity of picking a Saturday, October 17th, a day when people might be able to come to it, rather than some of these other demos, which are put on days like the 5th and 6th of October, which are Monday and Tuesday, when you can be damn sure that nobody will be able to come. So look at these Tea Party people. They had the good sense to put it on a Saturday. They wanted somebody to show up. So WILPF, Women's International League for Peace and Freedom. That's at least minimum requirements of sanity going on. And otherwise, Tuesday, October 7th, if that's correct. Sorry, they've got it wrong. It's Tuesday, October 6th. So you get the idea. Look on the Internet and figure out what's the one that you can go to. And this, of course, is specifically anti-Obama. Now, the teabag protests, the Tea Party protests here in Washington, my estimate is 75,000. The way you can do the estimate is you look at this area in front of the Capitol. You're talking the west front of the Capitol, where the inaugurations, among other things, take place. We had a 9/11 action there as part of a peace demonstration about 2 years ago. 75,000 basically fills the area up to the Grant statue and that pool of water, which is to the west of the Grant statue, west being towards the Washington Monument, towards the Lincoln Memorial, and towards Arlington, Virginia, that you can see. The Grant statue, very large, probably the largest equestrian statue of anybody in the world is there, and it looks to me like the Tea Party people got themselves out to the Grant statue and slightly beyond it, but more than 75,000, I would not say. Certainly not what Michelle Malkin puts out, this reactionary harpy, and not what the mentally unstable Glenn Beck says about this. Right? This was not 2 million. I'm sorry. I wish it were, but it was not. Fine, 75,000 is a very good result. That's quite significant, and essentially, hats off to the people who went to break the spell against Obama. But of course, don't kid yourself that you're 10 feet tall when you're not. Look at who ran it, though. This was pure corporate Republican lobbyists, public relations firms, and others. If you look at the list of the speakers, and I think I watched almost all of them, there were no Democrats. You'd think they would have gotten Puma Democrats in there, anti-Obama Democrats who might have been pro-Hillary, but certainly anti-Obama. They could have had somebody from No Quarter USA, right, the Larry Johnson website. They could have had any number of Puma websites. No Democrats, no Pumas. There was not even any Ron Paul, right? You think they'd invite Ron Paul or somebody from that neck of the woods. No, they did talk about auditing the Fed at one point, but nothing about Ron Paul. There were no official libertarians, no official Constitution Party, any of the other groups that might have been there. No. This was pure corporate GOP. The Grover Norquist gang, the anti-tax extremists, were there in significant force. Not Grover Norquist himself, too well known maybe, but others. And largely it's this Freedom Works Foundation. So it's a foundation, Freedom Works Foundation, their foundation funded. This is a right-wing foundation, and this is Dick Armey. Remember him, the lieutenant to Newt Gingrich 14 years ago when the Republican House extremists, the right-wing radicals, they're not conservatives, they're right-wing radicals and right-wing extremists. When they took over the House of Representatives, remember Newt Gingrich, who today says he's concerned about old people, wanted Medicare to wither on the vine, and he still does. Dick Armey, who thinks that unemployment insurance is communism, that a minimum wage is communism, food stamps are communism, Social Security is communism, Medicare and Medicaid, all communism, WIC, I'm sure, is communism. So Dick Armey, the number one speaker, Dement of South Dakota, I would call him Dement, as in demented. Senator Demented of South Dakota was there, and Congressman Pence of Indiana. Congressman Pence, you didn't say anything about 100 nuclear reactors. The way to save the Republican Party, if you want to have one, is to make it the party of heavy industry, modern, high technology, high capital intensity, high energy density, high wage modern industry. That would be a reasonable platform, but it's not. That's not what they're going with. They're going with, we are the party of southern sweatshops, low-wage employers, low-wage small business, which, of course, these are groups that deserve help, but you cannot remake the society as a whole according to the needs of small business, because you don't get out of the Depression without heavy industry, capital goods production, something that the Republicans once stood for when they were the party of protectionism, from Lincoln indeed to Hoover. Protectionism was the great saving grace of the Republicans, whatever else they did. The highest protective tariffs ever under Republican presidents, and all to the good. But not anymore. Now it's free trade and sweatshops and the rest of this. So that's basically a blind alley in terms of the future of the United States. The Tobin tax turns the tables and gives it something positive, because remember, the rule of thumb is if you're not fighting bankers, you're wasting your time and you're spinning your wheels. Now, let's shift gears and look at Afghanistan. Terrible news coming in from Afghanistan. A big bomb in one of the Afghan cities has killed 6 of the Italian NATO forces, and I think that is going to start a very important dynamic on the Italian contingent, which is several thousand, that I think they're going to be out sooner rather than later. Remember, we've been looking at the British as candidates to leave, especially if Gordon Brown falls, as he's going to fall in the near future. And also the Canadians are candidates to leave for sure. Now they're joined by the Italians, and the message is all NATO, get out of Afghanistan. We'll be back in a minute.